Hello. Um, I want to apologize right now for my videographer skills. I am not good with the video. I'm not good with the lighting. I don't edit anything. This is just, I talk and I post. Just real and raw. This video is about my symptoms. Symptoms that I go through because of the trauma that I went through. I was 23 years old and I'm 42 now, so next year will be 2 decades. So I can honestly say that it's hugely affected my life. I've lost jobs because of my symptoms. I've lost years of schooling because of my symptoms. I work hard for things and I do well, and I get sick and I lose it all. I lose it all. But before I get into that, I want to say something that's important, because I don't want people thinking that I'm just anti-mental health and this and that. It's not about that. I'm not trying to say that every mental health worker is bad. What I'm trying to say is different than that, but it sounds kind of the same. I'm trying to say that not every mental health worker is good. The people that I got, my doctor, the entire nursing staff, they were horrible people. Horrible people who not only abused someone, a 23-year-old woman who had come in to deal with childhood sexual assaults, multiple assaults. But the lies that they made up, they weren't twisted truths. They weren't exaggerated truths. These people made up full, fabricated lies about me. And it hurts because when you're a good person, some good people take pride in being a good person. And they took that away from me. I feel like I'm always trying to prove that I'm a good person. I always have to prove it. It's just this complex that I've been given now. I'm not worth anything. I'm so bad. My point is, though, they're not all bad. There's good and bad people everywhere. The problem is you can't tell them apart. And the problem is that we have a mental health system, at least in Ontario, Canada, that targets a demographic of vulnerable people and tells them to reach out and doesn't protect them. Doesn't protect them. I've been through hell and they did nothing. They didn't hold him accountable. There was no justice for me. The punishment did not fit the crime. Not in the least. And we live in a society where people just don't want to believe that people in certain professions can be bad. And it's ridiculous. We prove it every day that there's good and bad people everywhere. Everywhere. But here I am, every time that I try to tell people what I've been through, it's me against a doctor. I'm automatically the bad guy. I automatically did something to deserve it. I was 23 years old. I took time off my full-time job. I took time off my full-time job to come in. My coworkers and my boss were all filling in for me. And the first few weeks of it was him falling asleep on me every day. Every day. What does a young woman who's coming in to deal with multiple childhood assaults, what did I do to deserve him falling asleep? I know y'all want to blame me. Y'all want to think that I did something to deserve this? What does a patient do to deserve their doctor, their frontline psychiatrist, falling asleep on them day after day? And it wasn't just the falling asleep, it's trying to be a human being to this man who's doing wrong and trying to talk to him about it. And he just stares at me in silence. Just stares at me. I ain't worth an explanation. I'm not worth anything. I couldn't think of anything else to do. I was exhausted. I was hurting. I was in a vulnerable, I was in a pretty weak state. You know, I had been broken up with a boyfriend that I lived with months earlier, and I was between couches and just driving around the city all night in my car. You know, I'm not someone who can just go park somewhere and fall asleep. So if I didn't have someone's couch to sleep on, I was going to be awake all night until I went to my full-time job the next day. So I was tired. I just recently got a row house with way too many roommates, just people that I found in the newspaper ad. And there's way too many of us, and it was a horrible situation, but it was my only home at the moment. I was independent, truly independent for the first time in my life, not living with a boyfriend, nothing, just on my own. And it was stressful, and I was exhausted, and it had been going on for months. And I was told I could come into the hospital and get rest and get help. I wasn't told that I would have to come in and deal with this man and his issues. I didn't do anything to deserve that. Nothing. And I'm sorry that I couldn't take it for more than 2 weeks. I took it for 2 weeks. That's clearly someone who's not itching to hurt themselves. I took it for 2 weeks before I cut my wrist. I didn't know what to do. I was numb. I thought I was dealing with it by talking to him, and I wasn't. Part of me thought I was dealing with it the best I could. I didn't know where to go. This is a doctor. What do you do when you're But another part of me every day was getting more and more numb, was losing hope. I had so many things in my head going on about my past. I really didn't need him doing what he was doing. He pushed me over the edge. And because of what he did to me, and me finally having a reaction to it, staff turned on me. And they hated me. They were angry with me. I honestly feel like their pays were docked or something because of what I did. And they were taking it out on me. They would seek me out and poke at me. And if I said anything, they'd be like, well, what's that supposed to mean? I was losing my mind. I started taking as needed medication because I was so stressed. I was no longer a voluntary patient. Now I was trapped in there, and they were every day poking at me, trying to get me to do something where they could pull a power trip and restrain me. They know what it's like to be restrained. They know that it's really harmful to some people, especially people who have it in their past. My doctor knew it was in my past. He had fallen asleep the first time that I got all of my story out, but it had come up again. Even once I wake him up, you just don't start talking about things again, because every time I look away for too long, he falls asleep again. So you can't deal with anything. You can't get anything done. He's not paying attention. He's When I keep my eyes on him, I can see that his eyes keep going back in his head. They keep crossing. His lip and his nose keeps like sinking down. Like he keeps fading in and out day after day after day. I didn't do anything to deserve that. And when I write reviews about him, his other patients will write back, well, maybe it was a medical issue and blah, 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 blah. It's like, because you like the bad guy, it's okay that he did that to me. Because you like him, you're going to make some excuse for him to make it okay that he caused me harm. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So I'm going to keep it short now. I guess I'll end this here. I'm going to make another video about my symptoms, but that'll probably take another 10 minutes. And I know long videos, most people won't watch them. So I just wanted to make this little disclaimer video. I'm not trying to say they're all bad people. I'm not trying to keep anybody from reaching out for help. I mean, like I've said before, I'm not a religious person, but I've found myself at church a few times because you're just trying to find some kind of peace. I get that. I don't want to scare anybody away from reaching out. I just want you to know what could happen. And if it does happen, promise me that you will scream it from the rooftops. And I'm sorry for whatever it is you're going through. I know sometimes it seems like it's you against the world. Stay strong and do what you feel you gotta do to take care of yourself, to find that better. Good night.